good evening, Super League fans around the world. Um, I'm not sure if anyone's joined in, but if not, then you have a chance to do it now. The stream is live. It's a little bit earlier than usual. The games won't start until 9, but do feel free to chip in the comments if you have anything to say or anything to ask. I thought I'd just sign on a little bit early and have a little bit of a chat to myself. Because why not? Why not? There's some kind of football thing going on. We don't watch real TV in this in Super League Towers. We've only got eyes for one league, and it's this one. Yeah, an exciting evening coming up, and hopefully lots of action and lots of interesting results. Of course, everything is still to play for. If we have a look at the table, I think that's quite interesting to see how that's been evolving over the last few weeks. Obviously, had perhaps thought that more teams would be around the 40 point mark, but yeah, that's has been what you were aiming for in the past to get through to the playoffs. But it looks as if it'll be a lot lower here. Well, maybe we could still have teams on 36. I suppose it's not too far. It's not too far off. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what we end up with. It could be that all four or five playoff chasing teams lose out this evening and end up just with status quo. The table could look exactly like this, pretty much in an hour or two's time. But we'll see when we start kicking things off in about 20 minutes. A couple of people have joined the chat already. Ian, Joe, evening, guys. Hope you're looking forward to the Super League action that we're gonna display to you this evening. We have a half promise of Rob to join us on the co-coms a little bit later on, so that should be interesting to see anyway. As regard you guys on the chat, we'll have a look at the performances of BTEC Troopers and Parmouth and Icos and investigate that a little bit further. If we look at BTEC first, we had a reasonable start to the season, I guess. Looks as if there was a win or two there. Unfortunately for BTEC, it's kind of been a little bit of a non-starter, especially with the away results going the way they have been. It's been a tricky one, so not the most impressive curve there for BTEC considering the squad, but of course they have signed Buffon and perhaps will look to well, they will definitely look to improve next season. Whether they will or not, obviously remains to be seen. But 25 points, I mean that's 15 points from a playoff spot normally, but in this case it's only 8 points from a playoff spot. So let's see what happens next season. It's been very even amongst the teams at the bottom, as well as it has on the top. It's just a bit of a shame that such a rather large gap in between them. Who's been the best players for BTEC this season? Well, let's change to let's change to BTEC and see if we can find out who's been the top performers. Unsurprisingly, it's Bufa who's done really well for BTEC. We've got Martin Palermo as well, Edilson who came in, scored a couple of goals in the beginning and then kind of faded away a little bit. So yeah, it's been an up and down and sadly a little bit more down than up season for BTEC. But I mean you can see the averages are poor, and the reasons for that are I'm sure are many, but I'm not one to speculate. Players do score higher when they play in specific positions. Maybe there are some positional changes required, but yeah, if you have players for a specific tactic and that particular tactic isn't doing particularly well, then of course you need to improvise. So yeah, but as Joe Palmer points out, the average there was not perhaps not the best. Evening, Ryan. Welcome. Thank you for joining. We'll have a quick look at Parmouth and Icos now. We're doing a quick round of the teams of the managers who's joined the chat. So we'll have a look at Parmouth and Icos. Let's change to Mr. Palmer here. Parmouth and Icos, led by Joe Palmer, obviously his last season in the Super League, and he managed to get that Q. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he gets on in the playoffs. Resting a few people tonight, which is understandable considering that the key players like Cannavaro, Sand, Ambrosini, they're all on a yellow or on a warning for a yellow. If we have a look at the average rating here, you can see it's obviously a little bit different to what we saw before. Jorgathas is the highest rated player of the season. But you can also see that all of the good players are the ones that are being rested. Again, notice where these players who have high ratings they play. Ibasan plays in the forward position. Jorgatos plays on his wing back. Cannavaro at the centre. Nicky Butt, Vasiyuk, Balaban's done pretty well. Salihamidzic. Of course, there are players that are playing less well. There's always going to be, but yeah, but it's interesting to see anyway who's been performing well. If we look at the league and how the season has panned out for Panathinaikos, I'm pretty sure around 17 and maybe again around 2021, Joe was thinking, oh, here we go again with the playoff picture not being the way he wanted it to be. But yeah, a few poor results as he points out there himself over the course of the season. He's done a pretty good job, and of course now he's into the playoffs and well above the 40 points that he would normally suggest himself should be what's required for it. So yeah, decent season for Panathinaikos. A lot of players have done relatively well. I'm not going to speculate about the quality of the individual squads. I think we've done that already to some extent. Fair enough, there aren't the maybe the biggest names in here, but we have also seen big names not really performing particularly well, and here are some guys who've definitely done a job. I mean, Jakatos definitely one of them. Um, Superb stats as well, very very good player, and been one of the key performers for the Panathinaikos side. Ebisand as well. I mean, not in general, maybe not the highest rated striker in the game, but he's got 16 goals, and yeah, and perhaps he'll get even more, considering that they still have two playoff games to play. So he could still be in the hunt for the golden ball. I think Rossini is probably holding on to that quite firmly at the moment. So that's Panathinaikos, their squad and their season so far. If we have a look at who else has joined, Ryan is here. Let's have a look at Bolton Phoenix. Again, it's been a bit more of a of a one-way kind of curve, or a steady curve, if we can call it that, for Ryan and for Bolton Phoenix. Obviously started off very very poorly. The first 6-7 games, not much to write home about. Then things definitely started to pick up around game 7, 8, 9. And yeah, it's been pretty plain sailing for Phoenix after that. I mean, they even had a week or two at the top of the table when the Swedes had a bit of a break, and some really strong performances overall from Ryan's side there. If you're looking at the average ratings of the players throughout the season, I mean, it's a little bit similar to the Panathinaikos side. Quite few players have actually been involved for Ryan. I think he pointed out the other evening that he's been fairly lucky with injuries. The injury seems to have been limited to, I think, Figo and Raul they've had a couple of injuries. Apart from that, not been that much. Can I look at the selection and see who's played the fewest games for me? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, yeah, of course we can. I'll just finish mumbling about Ryan here, and then we'll have a look at Panathinaikos and see who's played the fewest. What I will say is that after the season is over, I'll do this. If anyone has ever done it before, then you know what you'll get. You'll get the printout of all your squad and stats and how many games they've played and how well they've done, etc. I think you might have received one earlier this season. I don't know if I ever sent it to you, but and I can't be bothered to edit the stream to show you what they look like. They're text files either way. Sambrata, obviously, in the hunt for player of the season. 10 assists is pretty impressive. I wouldn't mind seeing the selection screen. What is the selection screen? Where is the selection screen? There we go. Appearances, 25. Verong, ever present. Same as Senoni. We've got Dede and Gary Neville just behind them. Raul, Figo, Sambrata, and then sort of downwards, people who've been coming in and out of the side a little bit, maybe covered for each other. Wes Brown and Radoy, some of the subs down here. I mean, so Montella has obviously only played 11 because he only joined in the winter. And then a few people who didn't play at all. You can see the values here as well if you're interested. Morale, condition, things like that. So yeah, very good. Verong and Sinoni ever present. Either way, what else did we have to say about Ryan's team? Not much really. He's done really, really well. I think a lot of teams have maybe struggled a little bit and thought, what can we do to improve, and what's the difference between us and the teams at the very top. And I think a lot of people obviously said that the DMC role is incredibly important, which it is. But there's also a lot of people that are playing DMCs in the midfielder role, so in the MC role. And I mean, I can't guarantee that that's a bad idea, but considering that Valen don't do it, Bolton don't do it, Churchtown don't do it, I'm not sure if Alf does it. In general, chance creation is it's going to be tricky if your opponents are playing with a bunch of defensive midfielders in the DMC role, and then playing your defensive midfielders in the midfielder role is they're up against tough opposition. So I would suggest, I mean, if you're looking at someone like Alex, who's not, why is Alex not playing? Was that right, Ryan? Oh yeah, you've changed to that thing up at the front. That's right. When Ryan was playing slightly different formation, he had Alex obviously playing, who did relatively well, but he had a couple of poor games. Now he's playing with the front three behind the striker, so the three AMCs. But Ron has done very very well. Another attacking midfielder and central midfielder role who's put in a good shift. Sambrata, obviously, I think we spoke about already. Pretty much player of the season for Phoenix. Dede on the other flank, very important as well. So there are two roles that have worked exceptionally well for Bolton. Kale is yeah, he's played okay. He's had a couple of red cards, which has not done his average any favors, but he's been okay. Perhaps a weak point is a goalkeeper. Casillas 729 average, Nick Matulin 692 average. Um, is that a concern for Ryan going into the last couple of games? Will it be a concern for him next season? I don't know, to be honest. But it's perhaps a place that the team could be strengthened if it came to that. Panathinaikos, Palmer wanted to see his selection again. Let's have a look here. Yeah, no ever-present players. Ambrosini, Cannavaro, Nedved, and San coming close with 24. Jagatas 22. Pove, the Dutchman, with 21. Salihamidzic, and yeah, there's a bunch of guys down here at the bottom who's had a couple of games. Nicky Butt, obviously, coming in on and doing really well. His 11 games since joining from Arsenal Celtic, where he definitely didn't have a 755 average. Well, he never played, so hard to say. Um, Harasimovic, yeah, I mean, there's room for improvement. He's got a lot of 20s. You probably just need to build the other ones. So we'll see if he gets a look in under his new manager. If he will have the same kind of a love for people like Marvin Andrews and Martin Harasimovic as Palmer clearly has. Karagunis, Shotavalats, there's a couple of then there's some chaps down in the reserves that don't have much of a look in. Of course, you do have a reserve side with people like Simon Bell and David Anderson. So yeah, there's a reason we don't see much of them. Yeah, but overall, a really good performance from Panathinaikos over the season, I think, and they're sitting fifth, obviously, with the opportunity to go third, depending on how the results go tonight. What else have we got? What else have we got that we can have a look at? We'll have a look at the table as well, just to see how things stand. Just to remind everyone, we're starting with, despite the kind of cursed image that I put up of the bloody fixtures with Astor and Midlothian appearing twice. We're obviously scrapping the first Astor Midlothian game and just diving straight in with the rest of it here. But yeah, this is what the table looks like. Home form. I mean, Midlothian's second best team at home. They're not in. They're in sixth. I mean, I was going to say they're not in the playoffs. BTEC in the playoffs on home form alone. Churchtown absolutely not in the playoffs on home form alone. Quite strange to see that. If we look at the away form, of course we've already spoken about this, but we maybe see how important it is to have a good away form. These are the teams that are qualified in not really in the order that they're in, but with Valen and Churchtown swapping places. But these are the teams that have qualified. How many ever presents in the league? I think I can see that here, can I? Games. That was goals. Games. Is it not in here? I thought it was. Appearances. That's what it's called. Oliver Kahn, Rossini. Yeah, there's a few. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 9, 10 ever-present players in the league. Of guys who've started. So yeah, not sure if any of them have been like really monsters. I mean, Cafu obviously would have been good for Andreas to have him available. Obviously, strong average and very impressive performance so far. Well, let's see. It looks as if we've got Rob online. Let's see if we can get him. Let's see. Let's see if we can get Rob online. I hope you can all hear the lovely Skype sound. Again, only the most professional setup in the league. Good evening, Rob.
Good evening, Martin. How are you?
Very good, thanks. You're alive to the nation, so I mean, you can swear as much as you want, but
Thank you.
yeah, just so you know that everyone can hear you. You don't necessarily need your camera on, so if you want to scrap that, then that's fine.
Well, I thought you'd like to see my beautiful face. There we go. Hang on. How are we doing? There we go. That's better. Good evening, everyone. How are you? Nice to speak to you all finally. Hope we're all well.
It's great to have you on. Palmer says this will be good. So let's let's see if we can make it good. It's a pleasure to have you on, Rob. You're one of our debutants, or one of our both on comms, and this is the first season for you in the Super League. Um,
Yes.
Results wise, it's perhaps not been all that you hoped for.
It's been absolutely shite, Martin, hasn't it? Really? It's it's best Leslie Grantham impression. I like that. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's been awful, but it's been at the same time it's been thoroughly enjoyable. So and it's been a pleasure to be here. And
Well,
first of all, what I would like to say is that after what Anders said today, I hope his little one gets well soon. But at the same time, I hope he gets resoundingly beaten tonight. So
yeah, there
maybe
is that. I mean, fortunately, this is all entirely fictional, so we can we can wish whatever we want on our enemies. It's absolutely fine. Yeah, I mean, it's been great to obviously have you on board in the league. But obviously I can give myself a bit of a pat on the back for my recruitment there. But so it's good. It's good to have you on board. It's good to see your videos, and it's good to have someone who's got a few things to say and a few funny videos to throw up occasionally. I think we're all very impressed with the Michael Barrymore story and the David Hasselhoff story. Were there two stories? I think those were the two stories, weren't they? The two celeb stories. So yeah.
I've got plenty more in the can. The Hasselhoff story is 100% true as well. Believe it or not. Yeah. Wait till I tell you the one about Dean Bowditch and Alex Ferguson. They're classics for the ages, Martin. So
Well, we'll be looking forward to them next season. I think anyone who's seen a David Hasselhoff famous bathroom video, I don't think they'd be surprised at anything else that man comes up with. But yeah, obviously behavior, yeah, questionable. But I'm glad you lived to tell the tale, and we were lucky to hear it, obviously. Looking back at the season so far, what do you think was is the hardest part of it? Is it the lack of control? Is it the lack of information? Is it that everyone else is good? What's the
um,
hardest part
for
about
me,
having joined the Super League for you?
I think for me personally, it was probably the um, underestimating the opposition. Really, yeah, I think that was probably my thing. Was I was a bit, I thought, oh, this would be yeah, I'll be alright, just and then I'm sure everyone else feels the same. But you get to like 5 to 9 on a Sunday night, and you're just really nervous, and you just think, oh, I really want to win, and then you get beat 4-0 by some shithouses, and you just, oh, you just, yeah, yeah.
and
The
and
control,
there's nothing.
the control aspect though, it's a big thing because I suppose on your home save you can kind of just get involved and you have complete control. But and thank you for your tactics the other night, which seemed to swing things around for me. So maybe we should trust in the chairman a little bit more. So
Yeah, I mean there is that. I think it's difficult for. I mean that's what if reflecting on my own experiences from joining the league as well last season. Clearly, I also had a sloth squad. I think it was a lot weaker than yours, to be fair, but I also did a lot worse than you've done. So I think it all evens itself out. But that's what I found as well, that you can't just play a tactic that if it looks nice and if you think it plays nice, then that's not really enough. You kind of have to put a little bit of bit
Yeah,
of additional sort of thought and effort into it. And but I can see you're coming after it. I mean, apart from you've had some horrendous luck as well with many red cards being issued to the Sloth side. I don't think you've had the refs on your side. I think culminating with 2 red cards, was it the weekend before last with
yeah.
that
I mean,
that 3-0
I'm a
defeat?
I'm a sucker for hard tackling. I'm old school, Martin. You see, I don't know none of this. I watched about 10 minutes of the PSG game earlier on, and Neymar, the guy's just pathetic. He just infuriates me. He went down like he'd been shot. He was just disgusting. Just ah,
Yeah,
yeah,
but with the referees in the Super League, it's something that I never. I mean, I occasionally looked at it, but I wouldn't say that I would have ever really gone in and changed my tackling in my home save, depending on the referees. I mean, that's I
no,
don't think that was really a thing, but
no one does that, do they?
maybe
I bet
I
Ryan
doubt it.
does that. You do it, don't you, Ryan? I bet you do. I bet Ryan changes his tackling. Bet he
Ryan
does.
Ryan retrains his players for different positions as well,
Ah, God. Ryan, you need to get a
which
life, mate.
which is to be fair, I think is technically cheating, but
Well,
I've
yeah.
never had the patience. I just buy someone else. If I have a player and he doesn't have central, then first of all I probably wouldn't buy him, and second of all I'll just buy a new one. But yeah, it's
Oh, I've just noticed it's great. It's great to see Alf there as well. So I hope you're well, Alf.
yes, evening Alf, and I think the biopsy is tomorrow, but that's okay. We don't have to keep a track of these things. Yeah, as an invasion of the back. Yeah, enough, plenty. Um, so
Invasion of the backside. I know a story about that. There's this guy called Michael Barrymore, and he used to have these pool parties, and yeah, that's
yeah,
nothing he does.
I think Alf is hoping for something slightly less dramatic tomorrow.
Alf, if you want Michael's number, I can arrange that for you and get that swimming pool filled up, and we'll see what we can do.
You don't even have to pretend to be an electrician or whatever he was, the guy. Anyway, enough of the potential
Should be more.
lawsuits. We'll stick to the Super League. I suppose the question is, can you do better next year? What do you think? Have you
Probably
learned
not.
enough?
I'll
Have you
try.
learned
I'll
enough?
try, but probably not.
Oh, well,
Um,
it's it's worth a
I
shot.
mean, I hope so. It, uh, I'd really like to get in the top six. I'd really like to win it, but that's massively unrealistic. So it's I kind of like got like the Burnley syndrome. It's like you're happy to not, you don't want to finish bottom. I was like delighted that I managed to not finish bottom because that would have destroyed my soul. And yeah, but I was just happy to not finish bottom really.
Hmm.
But I really want to get in. Everyone wants to. There's no point in getting involved if you just want to finish like 10th or 11th or 12th. What's the point of that? Yeah,
Yeah, no, it's absolutely true. I mean, I put my heart and soul into various formations and things like that last season, and I got absolutely nowhere. So I definitely know the feeling. But I mean, if you look at the table now, I mean, 26 points is no disgrace, to be completely honest. There's 7 wins and 5 draws. I mean, it's you've lost approximately half of your games,
yeah,
and yeah, and a lot of those defeats obviously came in the beginning of the season until you kind of found your feet and that sort of pyramid style tactic that I mean, I enjoy that because it's something that no one else plays with, and it seems to be giving you results as well. I mean, that's
yeah.
that's something that I can definitely appreciate. So we'll see. Hopefully. And finally, before we get into tonight's games, who do you think
Yeah.
who's your favorite to run away with it? I mean, now you're kind of sadly for you out of the playoff and the
Yeah.
the, the title picture. So who's your favorite for first of all, who's your favorite for winning the whole thing?
I'd, do you know what? I'd love to see Palmer win it. I'd love to see Palmer win it. I just get a smile on that guy's face, and let's give Palmer the title. But yeah, it could be anyone because it's playoff football, Martin. It's a tricky business, isn't it? It could be anyone really. Even the team who squeezes in, sixth, seventh, or the seventh or eighth sides. Hornets, Cannons, they can still get there. Outside for Hawes as well. Dragons have got to basically have a 3 million goal difference swing, haven't they? So you know it's anyone, isn't it? Really, but
Yeah. Yeah.
anyone. I know there's a big anyone but Anders, but you know, that guy's all right. Yeah,
He's done pretty well, and he does
He's
have
doing really well.
the I mean, apart from what, a single goal, I think there's so many teams that have got that 49, 50 goals. Apart from a single goal, then he's got the kind of strongest attacking side. But what really stands out,
Absolutely.
obviously, is his conceded 23 goals in 25 games, and no one even comes close to that.
No.
So yeah, he's doing something right, and only four
Yeah.
defeats in 25 as well. So yeah, but as you mentioned, he has lost. I think, did he lose twice to Bolton? I think he lost at least once to Bolton.
I think,
Um,
Martin, even I nearly beat them. I nearly beat them, and that would have been my crowning glory.
that's true,
And we were
actually.
so
So
close, and you know,
true.
I see
He
a little
lost to
couple of goals here
Midlothian,
and there.
lost to Bolton, and lost to Chutley and to Churchtown. Yeah, so yeah, definitely.
I
It's
mean, when I say I
definitely
nearly
not
beat them, they
unbeatable.
humped us 4-0 the other week, but we drew 3-3 with them, didn't we? Yeah, there it is. Yeah, 10th of November, 3-3. Yeah,
Hmm.
classic.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Okay, well, that's all very interesting. I think we kind of need to get the show on the road and get some games
Let's do
played.
it. Yeah.
So yeah, so you've obviously maybe you've seen it, but if you haven't, then we're gonna start with what do you call these guys, with Swindon and BTEC. Or are we going to start
Oh,
with Churchtown? Oh no, sorry, it's Churchtown. I don't know. I've got three versions of this of the fixtures. We're starting with Churchtown against Ardsley, so
lovely.
apologies for all of this. So first up we have, let's see, where are we going? We're going to that one. Churchtown at home.
Yep.
Uh, what do you make of Churchtown? What do you make of Kieran's side? Obviously, he's got Oliver Kahn in goal. He was one of the ever-present players in the league. Strong defence, and Barry Ferguson. Where do you stand on Barry Ferguson? Not literally, but
Mate, you
given
usually the
given the
ankles.
option, given the option, where would you?
Because Ferguson's doing really well. He's got like a ridiculous amount of assists from that position, hasn't he? So
Hmm.
you know, Ardsley, it's been a sloth-esque season, hasn't it? It's not been great for those guys, but I think we're all expecting a Churchtown win here, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean I mean, statistically speaking, yes. I mean, Arsenal do have the small chance that Churchtown aren't as good at home as they are away. I guess that's his only kind of like not saving grace, but that's maybe his could be his hope. He's got the Patrick Vieira back, and it would be nice for Arsenal obviously to go out on a bit of a high this season. Churchtown, they kind of have to win really if they want to get into that top two. I mean, they're 3 points behind Bolton and only
Is
two
it,
points ahead of Aston and
is
Palmer.
it the
So
top two with the favourable? Because the top two don't come into the playoffs to the second round, do they? So they have like the favourable draw in the playoffs. So it's all about getting in there, isn't it?
yeah, they've got a 2 week break for the top two
There we
teams
go. So
before the I think it is before
I
the
think I think do you want a prediction?
yeah. If you wanna go for it, then please let's hear it.
I'm gonna go 3-1 for the massive.
3-1 for the massive. We'll see if that's
3-1 for
echoed
the
in the
massive.
comments. I'll Alf normally is quite good. Alf is predicting exclamation mark one. I'm guessing that's 1-1, but we'll
Alf always cops out with a 1-1. Come on, Alf, you can do better than that, mate. Well, you pick a 1-1 every time. Eventually, it's going to get 1-1. So
there has been a few 1-1s, but yeah. Without further ado, let's see if we can get through the games. We'll kick this one off, and we'll see how Kieran gets on against Ardsley. Just to check, Rob, because for me it makes no difference. But are you watching the YouTube stream, or are you watching it through Skype?
I am watching the YouTube stream.
Excellent, because I'll react to that rather than to my game, because then
Perfect.
we'll be on the same time. So we'll kick this one off and see if Georgetown can get a result, or if Ardsley will finish the season on a high. Um,
It's
uh,
very even stuff.
Even stuff in the beginning. You see Ferguson involved in a lot of the things that happens for Churchtown. But Nistelrooy as well. I mean, that's maybe one thing for Churchtown. He hasn't had a ton of super efficient strikers.
Oh, what happened there? Disallowed. Oh. And again.
Yeah, Arsenal definitely really pressing on here towards the end, and yeah, almost took the lead.
Did they have two disallowed there, or did I imagine that? There was one disallowed at the end, wasn't there?
Yeah, there's definitely one disallowed. Let's have a quick look in here. Diego Tristan struck the ball with fury and scored for Arsenal Celtic. Ruled out Morientes was offside. That's a shame because they were such a good partnership for, I would say, at least 5 or 6
Yeah,
games this season. But yeah, 0-0 at half time. But Arsenal with the best of the very few chances. I thought there was quite a lot of flashing going on.
yeah,
Um, I thought maybe there would have been more chances,
yeah.
but no.
No
Very
shots on target there though as well.
Yeah, it's a little bit poor. It's a little bit poor from Churchtown. They have had ups and down games. The strikers from Churchtown. I think Ruud van Nistelrooy has had an kind of an okay first half. Barry Ferguson not really done a whole lot. Olista DB. I mean, they're low ratings for Kieran compared to what we're used to seeing.
Yeah, Jeremy's clicking in with the 8. Always nice to see. Wonderful hair.
Hmm. True, true. Actually, there's a few fashion icons in that side as well from Churchtown. With regards to Arsenal Celtic, sixes and sevens across the board. Um, I mean, I don't want to dwell too much on that first half performance. It was a shame they had that goal ruled out for offside, especially considering Tristan's hardly touched the ball.
Yeah.
Um, Anything you feel like adding to the first half performances of either side?
I think it's been average all round, hasn't it? Really. I'm hoping for a more exciting second half. To be honest, I don't know about you. But
Yeah, I mean, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed that things will pick up here. No
the people are here for
flashing.
goals, Martin. We need to see goals. We need to entertain the people. That's what we need to see.
True, true. I can see Alf is saying we don't want to see you flashing on Skype. No flashing on comms. I'm not. I'm not sure what that means, but we don't want to see you flashing on Skype. Either way, I'm not sure. Let's kick off the second half. And if there's an issue with no flashing on comms, then please elaborate. I'm not sure I entirely understand that. You mentioned flashing. Ah, okay, right, fair enough. Right, I won't do that then. We'll kick off the second half and see if we get a little bit more in the terms of goal action, which we do. We do
There we go.
definitely get more goal action in the second half. Strong finish by Van Nistelrooy there.
Oh, hang on.
Team taking the lead. Um, I think I know what Alf means now. Oh, and
There we go. There we
there's a
go.
second goal for Churchtown because I completely I don't understand. I don't understand the concept of time. I'll get back to that in a minute. But yeah, Churchtown dominating the second half, everything going pretty much their way. Don't think I've seen, and there's Van Nistelrooy with the third.
There we go.
Don't think I saw a single chance for Arsenal Celtic, to be honest, in that first half. Let's see. Ah, well, they did have one chance in the second half. I think what is happening is that I forget that the concept of time works in a specific way. So what I'm seeing, I am commenting at. If I'm commenting on things that I'm watching on the YouTube stream, then I'm commenting on things that have already happened ages ago by the time the sound reaches people. So I will be commenting on the live stream as I see it. And Rob, if you can see it on your phone or wherever it is, I have shared my screen with you. So
I've got it up now on the screen, mate.
okay,
Yeah,
cool. All right, so we'll stick to that, so we
perfect.
avoid screwing this up any further. But yeah, um, a dominant performance from Churchtown. What do you make of Van Nistelrooy? Are you a fan of his in general?
Well, I remember back in the day when I used to like watching football. Van Nistelrooy was I used to love Van Nistelrooy, especially in champ as well. He's an absolute animal. But look at that. He's had I can't even. Let me just make this screen bigger. 8 shots, 5 on target. I think they had. Well, did they have 10 shots on target in the second half? Churchtown 8 on target second half. None in the first half. 8 in the second half. 10 shots in total in the second half. Absolute domination by the massive in the second half. Shit by Ardsley. That's my summing up.
Your honest opinion, and
Yeah.
no assist or goals for Barry Ferguson. That's probably the only real surprise here. What that does mean for the table in general is that the Churchtown are now on 49 points with a pretty good goal difference. I think possibly better than Bolton. So Bolton's gonna have to go out and win this one, or at least get a point tonight, I think. Um, let's see. Oh, Kieran just joined. I don't know if he was there already, but definitely got the pleasure of seeing his side win there at the end. Arsley Shite, you've kind of covered that already. Let's have a look at the
Yeah,
stats. Yeah,
couple
you're
of
right.
fives,
Yeah,
three fives. It's like watching the sloths away. Three fives, couple of sevens, bunch of sixes. Yeah,
yeah. Morale's probably also low from
yeah.
in the squad with the way the season has been going for them. So the less said about that, the better probably. And we'll move swiftly on to Swindon Devils against BTEC Troopers. Of course, the main talking point here this evening is, can BTEC get a point away from home? And I'd like your expert opinion on that topic.
Well, if you're looking for an expert opinion, that's not something I can help you with. But I don't know. I can see Swindon winning this one. BTEC, it's so hard away. It's so hard away when you're down the bottom of the table. Nothing goes your way. You always seem to lose. Who's the referee? Alex. I don't know who that guy is.
Spiroski, I don't think he's one of the bad ones or one of the evil
No.
ones.
I mean, it's so difficult with that little Swindon upturn in form as well they had, and you know, Alf's gone for a 4-1. I was going to go for an Alf 1-1 special. So
Oof, 4-1 for BTEC. Yeah,
that's a
that's
big claim.
that's a big claim. I mean, we can have a quick look at the tactics for BTEC. What they've gone. They've gone with an Ardsley formation. That doesn't
Yeah.
bode well, considering
The wooden spooners away. I like that.
wouldn't wouldn't doesn't bode well. I think Ardsley's performance in the last match and this tactic, but maybe it'll work. I mean, he's trying Akahawa on
What's
the
that
left
Howard
back.
doing there?
Um, I mean, from Ian's perspective, hopefully creating some assists and being dangerous down the wing. With regards to who's he up against, Ebiede and Danny Mills to some
The
extent.
rubber,
So
Danny Mills and Ebiade. Well,
yeah, I mean Swindon is they're not going with an experimental side. It's basically I think it's all the players that haven't played or have played very
yeah.
little so far this season that are out tonight. So we'll see how we'll see how that works out for Swindon. I mean, he's obviously had a bit more luck recently with his tactics, but he's you managed to overtake him, and obviously
I did.
you've
Much
escaped the wooden spoon area.
nice, nice to
But they're
see
decent.
prolific dead man Mark Vivian Foe in the centre midfield as well. That's good to see. Back when he played.
Yeah, I brought that up earlier this season. I think we've got another one. Have we not got another dead one
I don't know.
somewhere?
There's got to be a couple of dead ones knocking around, haven't there? So,
I was gonna say I would never sign them myself if they're kind of dead in real life, but I appreciate for some people. I mean,
and
it's a
who was
tribute.
the guy start of the season who we removed due to his illicit
Oh,
experiences?
a
Children.
German
That's,
central defender-ish person, I think.
oh, I
I
don't know.
forget his name. If anyone in the chat can remember who did we remove at the beginning of the game because he did some kind of not so nice thing with people a lot younger than himself apparently. I
Fucking
can't
hell.
remember, but
I think
someone
we like Dean Richards is dead as well, isn't he?
Metzelder, that's right. Ryan got it.
It's Zelda, that's it,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Right, okay, so no Metzelder, Dean Richards is dead, Mark Vivian for right. Let's do something less depressing. Let's watch Swindon take on BTEC Troopers
I think I'd
for
rather talk about dead people, to be honest, Martin.
to see if BTEC can get that big fat zero away from their away record. And yeah, so your prediction? You can't go. Well, you can go for 1-1 if you want, because Alf
I'm
said
going
one
for the
four.
1-1. I'm going for
Right,
the
okay.
1-1.
Right, let's kick off the first half and see if that holds true.
Oh,
Emre is not going to take part in this anymore. I think Oliveira does left side, so that'll be that, and then we'll put Mr.
gotta be.
Inzaghi. Sorry, Mr. Zidane. No, I think. Ugh, I
Oh,
don't have people's notes. I know that people sent me halftime instructions, and I think one of them is to put Inzaghi on in this particular position. So if everyone else can bear with me for a very short second, I should have obviously prepared slightly better. Let's have a look. Swindon. If yeah, replace Emre with Inzaghi. That's right. I knew there was something about that. Apologies for that slight delay. Put Inzaghi on, and we'll just bring everything back to life here. hopefully. There we go.
Go.
Let's see if that has any kind of impact, if it gives any kind of space for B-Tech Troopers. I think if you're playing the Wooden Spoon B team away from home, you gotta.
Oh, there we
Oh, that's
go.
Vogel, and
Oh
Martin
my word.
Palermo. Maybe Alf will be right with his 4-1.
It's absolutely going off at the layer tonight.
I was going to say if you can't beat the team that are bottom of the league, and it has to be. Oh, Pizarro had one ruled out for outside. You need to be able to beat the B side of the team that
Nice.
finishes bottom, don't you? Really, realistically.
I'll be looking forward to Fifey's video if this continues in this way tomorrow. Hopefully,
Yeah, he's usually good for for for
it's
uh,
good for
for
a
a
video.
reaction video or two. 5 feet. I think he kind of expected this. I don't think there's any um, any doubt when you put out players like Ian Hart at central defense and things like that. It's gonna
Yeah,
go a little bit. Matt Holland in general it's not really it's not gone his way, to be honest, this evening, and it's not the strongest side, but it was a little bit like us. Who did he not beat? Was it that was the 3-0 game when he was playing against you and you had 9 men?
that's
When
right. Yeah,
you know
thanks for that.
you've got to win those games, and BTEC are doing it so far. I mean, Martin Palermo
Yep,
getting a 10 so far this evening.
beautiful.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought? And yeah, I mean, and Ian will obviously be pleased if he can hang on to this. Do you think he can? Do you think
It's,
there's a way back in this for
I
Swindon?
mean, check the stats. It's almost like one-way traffic. Yeah, it's in typical Chapman style. It'll stay 2-0, won't it? There'll be nothing else now. Yeah,
One
it'll
one
peter out.
one shot on target each in the second half
Yeah,
is what we're gonna go for. Let's see. Let's see. Um, I mean, it looks as if BTEC are still
still
pushing
pressing.
forward, to be honest. But yeah,
That was the chance.
not much in the way of goals. Oh, there we go,
Ooh,
Pizarro. He had one ruled out for offside the first half. He's getting one in the
too
second.
cloudy.
And yeah, I mean, the worst player in the league by far after the first 20 games or whatever it was has got 2 goals in the last game of the season. So yeah, he's obviously trying to maybe he's playing for a chance to stay in his manager's plans. 638 average over
Oh,
12 games, and
it's nice.
he
It's
and
nice
he
to see Pizarro getting on the score sheet. Seeing as he only finished with Werder Bremen last year, wasn't it? He was still there. So
yeah, he was still playing. I think there's
fantastic.
him. Who else is playing? Slatan is still playing. There are a few
Oh,
guys in the Super League that are still kicking about, obviously, getting games here and there. But yeah, very decent prediction from you, Alpha. I mean, only
yeah,
a Swindon goal away from perfection.
yeah. Ian'll be delighted with that. That's fantastic. Good. That's a good end. Oh, look at that. That's beautiful. That's what we like to see.
I mean,
There we go.
he's had kind of similar-ish home performances, just without the so many goals, obviously. But he's dominated a couple of games. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I mean. It is a Swindon B side. It's not brilliant, but Ian
Doesn't
will be
matter.
happy
It's
to
cool.
finish on a high, and it's nice to see someone not having a big 0 points away from home. So yeah, well done, BTEC. And
Just read the comments. Look at Palmer just handing it to Five. I thought you two were like the Carvery buddies. This. Where's the love gone, boys?
Yeah, I thought it got a little bit spicy in the last day or two, but that's fair enough. It's getting towards the end of the season. Everyone's getting excited, so yeah. But BTEC takes that one 4-0, and yeah, there's not much else to say to that. We'll move on, and we've got a Panathinaikos against Dragons coming up next. So this is the two. I won't say that they don't have any impact on the league, because obviously Churchtown are still in the battle
Yeah,
for second. Um, but these are the really big ones, because these are the ones for the sixth place.
yeah.
And Dragons obviously the first time they're going to need nothing apart from obviously a 10 goal victory for Jamie is going to be is going to be any good. So we'll see if that comes about. Obviously, for those of you who tuned in a little bit earlier, you would have seen we discussed Palmer resting a bunch of players, because he's got basically half of his starting 11 are on a
Hiatus.
yellow card warning. So if they get a yellow, they'll be suspended for the next game. So he's resting pretty much his entire first team. So it's a little bit like a Swindon-ish formation or lineup that he comes out with tonight, with Ashley Lyth and Eddie Pope and Mel Shot and these
That's
guys.
that is some formation, isn't it? It's beautiful. So
Yeah, and he's stuck with it right from the beginning. You know, it's you can see there that's actually that was before people started naming the tactics or doing anything funny. So
yeah,
it's from the 13th of the September, and I think the 15th was the first. I should have perhaps mentioned that we're pretty much to the day 6 months in to
yeah.
take these 26 rounds of football. So one a week. I mean, it's been it's kind of dragged on, but it's also kind of when I looked at it the other day, I looked at all the YouTube videos. I'm like, bloody hell, we've made like 30 odd videos of this. But yeah, let's see how Panathinaikos gets on. Dragons in, I mean, Jamie doesn't change his formation, and he hasn't changed his formation for tonight either. Um, Shira Viduka. Is this correct? I don't know. I feel like I might have. Oh no, no, I think that's correct. Either way, this is the Dragons formation tonight. Do you think they've got any chance, or is it just? I mean, is it too little, too late? They've got
It's,
the
it's,
three
they're not going to break the
three.
top six, are they? But they're not. They're just not. They're not going to break the top six. But I do like the way Jamie, like you say, sticks with his formation, sticks with it. You know what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's the problem. I mean, I'm not one to talk because I'm like what 11th.
Yeah, I mean, I think he is only like 3 or 4 points ahead of you, so it's not
Yeah.
really. It's not really. Could be Jamie's last match. Well, it
There's a
could
lot of
be.
this shit going down in the chat tonight, and I don't like it. We need to fucking cut it out, lads. Yeah, all this last match bullshit.
Stay
We've got to bother
positive.
Martin for years to come yet. So
Gotta stay positive and hope for the best. Your predictions for this one, Panathinaikos, Dragons.
I mean,
If you're new to the league, as I am, but I think this is true. I don't think that Parma has a good record against Jamie, and I think that Jamie might have beaten him in the last game last season to rob him of that playoff spot.
I still think the enigmatic Palmer's gonna take this one. I think. Yeah, I think it's too little, too late for Jamie.
Hmm.
Let's go a nice steady 2-0, 2-0 to Panathinaikos.
Steady 2-0 for Panathinaikos. Alf says 5-2 either way. So I didn't know that was a. Oh, and the season before, yeah. So 2 seasons in a row, Parma's had issues with playing Jamie in the last game of the season, and it looks as if he's going to have issues with it again. Certainly, the
Yeah.
first 15, 20 minutes has been pretty much all red, red and green. How colorblind people manage that, I'm not sure. Do they still appear? I mean, I know it's a little bit off topic. Do they still appear as two different colors? That's what I want to know. If you see red and green like this, does that appear as two different colors to a
I've no,
red and green colorblind person?
there we go. I have no idea. I'm
Any
not,
colorblind people in the chat, please
yeah,
enlighten us.
that was out.
And well done, Vasiliuk, for getting that goal. I mean, I'm sorry I drifted a little bit off topic, but the game was a little bit a good start from Dragons, but got a little bit boring, and then Panathinaikos obviously got the goal right before half time. Your take on that first half?
Well, if you look at the stats, Dragons are just a little bit on top, aren't they? So, but Palmer's got the goal. That's all that matters, isn't it? So,
That is true. Vasiliuk has been the kind of a um, the shining star up top because he's not got any of his big names playing. He's not got Nedved playing, not got Nikiforenko, not got
no,
San Trezeguet's on the bench. Their replacements Harasimovic, Balaban, and Vasiliuk not done particularly well. But Gerard, who's come in for Nedved's getting a
steady
9
9.
and an assist, so he's got to be happy with that. I mean, it's nice for him to see that he's got an alternative in that central midfielder role that I
Definitely.
struggled with last week. I think I did some wrong substitutions, but either way. Dragons back to their kind of not so excellent performance. Struggling.
Robbie
I mean,
Keane as well, same
they're not
form.
struggling to create chances as much as they used to, but now they're just kind of not great at converting them. Alan Shearer, disappointing considering that what did he pay for him? 10 million or something like that. What do you think? Um, 15 million he paid for Alan Shearer, and he
Got
sent
him
Montella the other way.
from Bolton, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, disappointing. But Alan Shearer's, if you're gonna cheat and do heading and jumping, marking the keeper, then he's a goal machine, isn't he? But otherwise, he doesn't seem to be doing the business this year. So
He
how old is he
hasn't.
now on this? How old is he at the minute?
Well, he's 31 and just about
Shit,
to turn 32, so he'll maybe get one more season out of him. But I mean, his stats are still good. He's just not the fastest. I mean,
he's
acceleration
got
11.
the all important high stats in the right hand side column as well.
Yeah. That is true. He's still got good jumping, heading, finishing, probably long shots as well, bravery. Yeah, he's still got good stats. He's just, I mean, nine
No
games
goals.
without a goal. I mean, well, we'll see. We'll see what happens next year if Jamie continues to rely on Shiro if he does any kind of business in the summer. What do you think? Second half, Palmer's going to hold on to this and stick with the 2-0 that you predicted originally.
Yes, I'm sticking with the 2-0. If Jamie wants to buy Jao Pivy off me, then you're more than welcome to have him. So there we go. Bit
Now
of
that you've
touting
got
for business there.
now that you've got Landon Donovan,
Oh,
literally
I've got
unstoppable.
landing cakes. What more do you need?
Literally unstoppable. We've kicked off the second half amongst all that, and it looks as if Parma is still going to be the kind of dominant side, at least early on in the second half. We'll see if Alan Shearer pops up and puts us
There's
all to
anything.
shame with a stellar performance in the last 20, 30 minutes. It doesn't look like it, to be fair. There's
That's the second.
Bosco Balaban
Bosco Balaban.
with that all important second.
I saw his debut, Bosco Balaban.
His
A little
actual
fact
debut.
for you there. Not his Aston Villa one,
Uh-huh.
not his like Dynamo
I was
Zagreb
gonna
one.
say, what are you doing in the old Eastern Europe?
Well, business Martin takes me everywhere.
True. His Villa debut, right.
Atrocious.
Um, a 3-0 Panathinaikos, a strong performance. That means that they move to 47 points, so they are above Astra now. So of course they can't catch Churchtown in third after Churchtown.
Yeah.
They won that their first game, but they've put the pressure on Astra, who are now going to have to beat Midlothian in the last game of the evening if they are to keep their fourth place. I'm not entirely sure how it works, who plays who in the playoffs, but we'll definitely find out.
See
Um,
find out.
yeah, let's have a look at
So
how the
result.
second half unfolded stats-wise. Panathinaikos I mean, they did better in the second half, and not much to write home about for Dragons.
No, not a great difference in the shots on target. Free kicks, corners are really well 17 throw-ins if that counts for anything. But
True, not sure where they're coming from. Perhaps surprising to see Carini getting re-elected to start. I mean, he had an 8 last time out, but I don't think he had a particularly good
yeah,
game. Oh, sorry, a 3 last time out, and he had a terrible game. Um,
3. It's abysmal. That's got to be the lowest rating all season, isn't it? A 3. That's pathetic, isn't it? 3.
That's pretty shitty from a
Yeah,
goalkeeper. Yeah, absolutely. But Jamie stuck with him. He got a 6, but conceded three goals on 4 shots. So perhaps that's he's on holiday. Viduka getting a 5 after like bursting onto the scene after doing nothing for 20 games, and then he scored like 5 goals in 3 or 4 games, and then he's back to being poor again. But yeah, end of the season a little bit disappointing for Dragons. I mean, and
yeah,
disappointing for the. I was kind of rooting for Dragons a little bit 3 games ago when I thought they can actually make this if they win these three. Then
yeah.
and then they absolutely did not win those 3 games. So yeah, bad
Jamie's
luck.
curse.
Bad luck for Jamie and the boys there, but they're gonna stay. They're gonna stay where they are position wise, I think. Um, let's see who we've got up next. It's Bolton against Hooligans. Your thoughts on this one? Your thoughts on the top two battle? Who's the stronger? Bolton, Valen, best
I
formation,
think
best players, best
Bolton
squads.
Bolton had now like an outstanding run, didn't they? They had a really good run.
Hmm.
So just give me 1 second.
Don't look at my ratings then. No, I'm sorry. Sorry, Farmer. I didn't look at your ratings. I completely forgot. I have quite possibly lost my co-commentator, which would be a shame, but that's maybe how it goes. We might get Rob on. We might get Rob on again later. For the moment, Rob is not here. So you'll just have to put up with me for a little bit. Um, I'll go back to the game in hand, and we'll have a look at Bolton's lineup. Fairly familiar. We've seen this one a couple of times from Bolton already this season. Quite a few. The Phoenix Tree, as he calls it. Henshaw and Neville at the back. Dede, Kalen, Sinoni, and Sambrota across that DMC row of four players there. Raoul Varong and Henri up front, and Montella obviously right on top. Montella's not been that great, to be completely honest, but he's still a very, very strong striker and obviously the best that I think Bolton have at their disposal. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they get on this evening. This is obviously very very important for Bolton. They could lose their second spot, I think, if I remember rightly. Let's have a look. Oh, that's not updated, so that's no good. They could possibly lose their second spot to Churchtown if they lose this one, and Hooligans will obviously be extremely interested in getting 3 points out of this one, as they are still theoretically in the hunt for the playoffs. There's a Ian Samuel at the back, only changes Crosas going out. We obviously had him playing last week for his debut, but we didn't see much else of him. Kennedy's been doing really well, and Salas, Peter's 9-year-old Peter's favorite. The predictions from Alf are 2-2, and yeah, it could obviously be 2-2. I'll definitely kick this one off and see if Bolton can put in a performance and keep the pressure up on Valen. If Hooligans can reach the playoffs, it's all to play for in this one. Ryan would like to take a point apparently. I think you would prefer all three, wouldn't you? Either way, a decent start from Hooligans actually. Perhaps a little bit surprising considering their recent form, but oof, can't keep a good team down. Sambrota getting the opener for Bolton Phoenix on 22 minutes, so exactly halfway through the first half. We don't see many goals for Sambrota this season. It's usually assist. That's his strong side, but definitely involved. Oh, and there's Henri with the second of the game. Um, yeah, it's a lot of pressure from Bolton that's been put on the hooligan side now. Thiago will be disappointed that they've not had much luck with the few chances they have had. Obviously, they've had Kennedy, who's been in top form this season, but doesn't look as if he's having an impact so far. Fairly even in terms of shots on target, actually. Four for Bolton and three for Hooligans. Only one goal in it. Sorry, only one shot difference in it. But yeah, Hooligans are struggling here, struggling to convert. IMR getting a 5. There's a E getting a 5. Probably not what we're looking for from a hooligan side if they were going to have any chances of getting into the playoffs. Did mention it a couple of times that it's not unrealistic that none of the sides in the playoffs are going to pick up points this evening. So we'll see how that goes. If we're looking at the Bolton side, they've been very, very strong. Raoul getting a 6, perhaps being the only slight disappointment there, but the rest of the team's doing very, very solid, especially down the flanks. It is obviously the old very wide against very narrow, and if the flanks are working, then it's great for the team who have those players, and a long evening for the team that doesn't. Um, we'll kick off the second half probably and see if Hooligans can find a way back into it. If Kennedy can come up with one of his trademark goals from midfield, or if Bolton are going to take this one home nice and steady. 2-2 was the prediction from Alf, so it's all to play for Hooligans from that perspective. We'll have to get an early goal, I think, to be in with a shout here. They didn't get the early goal, and there's Henri with his 10th of the season, I think it said, 3-0 for Bolton, so that should be them home and dry. And there's the fourth from Montella, I think. Important for Ryan to get Montella back on some kind of goal scoring form before the playoffs, obviously. And that's it. It's 4-0. So that is Ryan definitely securing his spot in the top two. Kieran definitely finishing third. Hooligans definitely not making the playoffs. So that was a couple of answers to a couple of questions there. What else have we got left to play for? Anything? Anything at all? Yeah. Very strong second half by Bolton. I think they completely controlled that. There was no shots on target from Hooligans at all in the second half. Yeah, Alfie got the 4 goals right. It was a little bit of a different distribution than what you mentioned, but yeah, there was definitely 4 goals in it. from Hooligans' perspective. Um, I wasn't going to say it, but because we spoke about it earlier, and it turned out that there was more life in the old half track. But this, I mean, it's a difficult game. It's a difficult place to come. It's difficult to play against Bolton. They're in top form. They've got a decent side, but the half track formation in that particular style is it, you're not scoring enough goals. There's not enough goals in it as it is. I mean, I know that Hooligans have struggled hugely with injuries and problems, etc., throughout the season. They've had terrible luck with all of that, unhappy players, etc., etc. But this is really uh, it's an unfortunate end to the season that it's a 4-0 defeat away to Phoenix. But full credit to Phoenix. You have to be very strong to beat them, as we've seen this season. They've had a lot of great results. They've had some very very strong performances. It's good to see Thierry Henry finally getting in on the goals. I think he's probably been feeling a little bit left out throughout this season. But yeah, a very strong finish from Bolton. A very strong second half performance. Raul, the only player getting a 7. I think he's a little bit like Viduka. He's had like a couple of good games here and there, but struggling to make an impact. I mean, 5 goals and 3 assists, obviously. Yeah, similar to Viduka, apart from the assists, obviously. So, but steady Eddie, and he probably keeps his place going into the playoffs. Sorry to let down all the Churchtown fans. Yeah, shame for the Peters crying. Yeah, that's a video I don't want to see, Kieran. Thanks very much. So, thoughts and prayers. Is gravy on chips acceptable in Denmark? Yeah, absolutely. It's not a common occurrence, but yeah, definitely. If you have something with chips and you have gravy, then you would definitely put your gravy on your chips as well. You can even put it on your crisps, which is what we call chips to make it extra confusing. So ready salted with dip them in gravy. That's a life hack that you can take for free. Um, Right, in the interest of time, let's crack on with there's 3 games left. So it's not the second last game of the season, it's the third last game of the season, whatever the correct phrase for that is. And we have got Chutley Cannons, and they're up against Somerset Sloth. So it's a bit of a shame that we've lost our co-commentator. I'm not sure what happened to him, but he he might turn up. If not, Rob, I hope you enjoy it. If you yeah, Palmer. You need it ready salted. Next time you have anything with gravy, get a ready salted multi-pack out of the cupboard and just dip a little bit, maybe like a third of the ready salted crisp into the gravy. I tell you, you will not regret it. Back to the action after that culinary inspiration. Chudley, uh, it's been a difficult season for Chudley. Let's not beat around the bush. Um, Came with a lot of maybe expectations. There was a lot of kind words with good reason said about Timmy in the beginning of the season. There was a lot of respect shown for him for what he's achieved in the league so far. This season it's not really gone his way. He's had some struggles with goalkeeping positions. His defensive midfielders weren't performing as well as he had. Perhaps hoped for, considering how strong they are on paper. Up front, it's also been a little bit hit and miss. Rossini's had a strong period. And then, as we mentioned last week, I think he had a game where he scored 4 goals, and then it's been a little bit quiet from him since then. Boomer and Finnan, not really. Boomer has, shown flashes of brilliance as have all the Chudley players, but it's not really been consistent enough to secure a proper spot in the playoffs. They're still in there, obviously. They're still in with a shout, but they will have to beat the Sloths tonight to take that. Sloths pretty much unchanged. I think there's only one guy, maybe a change. The Solari's coming in on the left-hand side for Duff. I think we've got Tavy in goal still. We had a change at the back. Yepes is on for whoever it was that went out. I forget. Pastor Soglu, maybe. Um, Yeah, I mean they've got Crespo, they've got Rivaldo, they've got Alessandro Kaka, as we mentioned before, has started to show some good form this season. So definitely don't ever rule out the Sloth side. Although of course their last away game was at Swindon where they had two people sent off and lost 3-0. Church in form 3-1 says Alf, who's the prediction expert. So let's see if it's the Berea, if Rossini and these guys can do it, or if Rivaldo, Crespo, and the Sloth boys will be too strong for them. Schloss, as mentioned before, in a different formation. Nice to see that we don't all stick to the same formations. This is obviously very similar to Ryan's formation, but yeah, there are still variations. Pleased to see that we haven't all settled on the same. Strong wind. Oh, we've got to get Alp's comments on the wind. It's going to be some misjudging, and it's going to be a good night for the big boys heading. So maybe that's good news for Crespo. Uh, that's not good news in general. Solid, because who plays 70. We'll do. We will probably do this. Da, 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 da. I think that will probably work. Early injury for Sloss. We'll see how that impacts the rest of the game. Obviously, we've put Selakovic on. Estebaria with a goal now. Yeah, a strong start from Chudley. Question is whether they can hold on. They've obviously had some real problems, some defensive frailties. Went through a long streak of conceding a bunch of goals. In a very short period of time. I think 5 or 6 games, and they conceded something like 20 goals. But yeah, it looks as if their formation is working for them tonight. That's a double from Estebaria. Goalkeepers 5. Let's see. No, it's a 3. Alf. It's even worse than that. Taibi really struggling with the conditions tonight and getting a 3 in the in the first half. Westerveld doing much better. Dutchman obviously. Used to the windswept coast of Holland and doing very well under the conditions. So a 7 for him. Not a hugely impressive performance overall from Cannons, but they're obviously putting the chances away, and that's really all you need to do to win games. So 5 shots on target for each, and yeah, it's going a little bit better than for Cannons than it is for Sloss. Rob perhaps not entirely disappointed that he'd had to obviously drop off the co-coms there because yeah, I suspect he wouldn't have been particularly happy with this performance from his team in the first half. We'll kick off the second half and see if there's a way back in for him, or if Chudley's gonna um, keep on the pressure. And oh dear, well, I guess that's it. We spoke about it earlier. I mean, he's had his fair share of red cards. There's Rossini getting his 20th of the season, laying a claim to that top scorer, possible top scorer position. He's obviously going to be very hard to catch, even though that some teams might still have another 4 games to play after this, or 5, or however many it is. Sees it home quite easily. Shame for Sloss there with yet another red card. They must be the team with the most red cards this season. So yeah, disappointing performance from them. Strong performance from Chudley, who are now on 36 points and therefore currently in sixth place. They do have a shocking goal difference though. So got 4 goals right again. Yeah, I think to answer your question, Ryan, Chalky Crustaceans now favourite for the last playoff spot. So they are on 36 points now. The only problem is that they have is if that anyone else finishes on 36 points, they're going to have the worst goal difference. So yeah, I mean at the moment they are in sixth place, but that could all be about to change as we see Hornets take on Valen at home, which will be our next game. But let's just have a look at the stats here. As expected, when these things happen, one team is dominating in the first half, and then there's a red card early in the second, then it completely dies down, and pretty much nothing happens. Taibi gets a 4. Balax was for 2 yellows actually, and that's disappointing. Um, for Cannons, excellent performance from Amoroso. That was the only substitution that Tim had made before this game, was to take whoever it was that played that the left-hand side, Potancini out, and put Amoroso on. He obviously got a goal and an assist, so strong performance from him. Goal from Rossini, goal from Estebaria, assist from Boomer. Yeah, 7s and 8s. Yeah, strong performance from the Cannons against a Sloth side who've not been great away from home and have had a bit of a difficult season. So yeah, Cannons are in with a chance of a playoff spot. Who would have thought it a couple of games ago? It's They did have a relatively easy run in, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see how the rest of the evening pans out. Next up, we've got Huddersfield Hornets again, and they're at home to Valen United. Um, we shall see. Let me just double check if any of these boys have instructions. Um, I'm sorry to keep you waiting there, guys. I'm just double checking the instructions. I think there are for Valen. Yep, that's it. And who else has instructions? Either way, we'll see when we get to that. None of these guys, anyway. Hudson Hornets. So this is Craig's formation. It's not 4-1-3-2. It's not 4-4-2. It's it's the one that he posted online not that long ago. He's definitely going for it. It's interesting to see Craig doing a non-standard CM formation, but he's obviously got his mind. I like it, yes, Ryan, because it's your formation. So you would with more arrows. To be fair, so he's definitely hoping that he'll secure that playoff spot. That looked like it was going to be his, but then he went on this gammon thing, and it went really badly. But he's probably hoping that this one will see him through to the last six. I mean, although he does have to win now. I mean, that's what the pressure that's been put on him and Midlothian for the last two games with that. My power is back. What did I miss? You missed that. You lost 4-0, unfortunately. So yeah, shame about that. And Balak got a red card. So yeah. So maybe it's not so bad that you missed it, Rob. Um, let's have a look at Valen. Nakata is in instead of Totti. I think that's one of the few changes. Bonera is in at the central defense. Saviola is out. I think he's on a yellow warning as well. He's on his last yellow, so he's probably just taking a bit of a breather there. Possibly still enough to beat Hornets. I mean, Valen have been very very strong both home and away, so it'll be interesting to see what comes of this one. As mentioned before, nothing but a win will do for Hornets, and Valen United are currently a point behind Bolton, so they need to get at least a point to secure first place. But they will kick this one off. Al's prediction is 1-1. Yeah, let's see if it turns out as a 1-1. Tigalco is obviously playing alone as a lone striker for Hornets. I think that's received some love from some of the other managers who thinks that that's definitely going to be the way forward. Fairly strong start to the game from Hornets, but they failed to obviously capitalize it. And there's Luis Saha with the first goal of the game, standing in for Saviola. He's done a pretty good job the games that he has played. And there's Tigalco with that equaliser. We thought it might happen, but Stephen Reed of all people have pulled one back for Valen United. So interesting developments there right at the end. Let's have a look and see if I remember these instructions. Yeah, so we've got one small change for let's see. For Valen. We've got the Battaglia coming on for the second half. Stats wise, very, very even 3-3, 3-3. Three shots on goal, three shots on target. Valen's converted two of theirs. Hoddesdon's only converted one. Sebastian Frey getting a 6. David Dunn not impressing anyone. Owen Hargreaves likewise. Yeah, it's not been a particularly strong performance from anyone at all, actually, from that Hornet side. But they are up against the league leaders. But yeah, who knows what will happen in the second half. I was going to say maybe Cafu had been playing a blinder, but he clearly hadn't. So Battaglia comes on for him. Stephen Reed with a 6, Bonera with a 6, Saha, the best player so far with an 8. Where did the assist come from? Rui Costa had one assist, the other one apparently unassisted. Yeah, not the most exciting of games in terms of the on-field action, but certainly the way that it can impact the table is something to look out for. So currently, as it sits, Hornets remain on 33 points, and Valen will go top with 54. We'll kick off the second half and see if Hudson can find a way back in. Remember, they do need a win tonight in order to put themselves back in contention for the playoffs or to have a chance, all depending on the Midlothian game, obviously the outcome of the last game of the evening. Yeah, not much happening in the first 5 minutes. Lots of backwards and forwards. I'm not sure if any of it is actually chances. It can be a little bit deceptive sometimes. Couple of good chances there from Hornets. Tigalco still try and test and probe in, but there comes Nakata out of nowhere from midfield. Very, very dangerous. Valen United, obviously, very strong side, so hard to beat. I think they've only conceded 2 goals once in the last 12, 13, 14 games. So it's a tricky one. Yeah, and Hornets, unfortunately, there's not much they could do against a stronger Valen United side. Hornets finish on 33 and Valen United up on 54. So that's answering pretty much all of the questions that we had this evening, apart from one. Apart from one, well, you can say who will finish above. If Astor win tonight, they will finish above Parma. If not, then they won't. Midlothian, they need a win. They need to win this game in order to um, overtake. Let's have a look. In order to overtake the Cannons, who are currently quite surprisingly sitting in sixth place. Yeah, this is going to be interesting. This is going to be very, very interesting. I'm actually, for the first time this season, I'm actually a little bit nervous. I will admit that. Not because I particularly care who gets sixth place. I mean, whether it's Ian or Tim, it's one of the old stalwarts of the league or one of the newcomers. For me, it's six of one and half a dozen of the other. But I'm a little bit curious to see how this one will end up. I was going to say that Midlothian haven't won a single game away from home this season, but neither had BTEC before tonight. So it could still go either way. And they do have a new formation which we will have a look at shortly. Nicolay Smith up front, Bruging, who I'm not a huge fan of, but I might have to change my mind one day. Let's see how he's done so far this season. 12 goals in 18 games. I mean, it's difficult to argue against. He is a strong player. Alf backing himself for a 2-0 win there. We've got Rosicky, Emerson, Placentis, and Biska and Materazzi. Materazzi has been a bit of a goal machine recently and an expert penalty taker, something that obviously we will need to take a note of if we do we have penalties in either any of these playoff games. I don't know. Maybe it's worth Alf to go in and set Materazzi as your key penalty taker, as you take off your first or last penalty, depending on how you view these things. Um, Midlothian currently worst away team in the league. Ha ha ha. They still have more points away from home than you, Ian. They have 4 draws, so they have 4 points. You only have three. So it depends on how you look at it, I guess. Midlothian in their away colours, and let's have a look at their tactics. So this is one that we've not seen before. Um, Roberto Carlos and Dulaj are playing as proper wing backs. Hofland Klompe either side of Addo with an arrow forward, and then some kind of snakes and ladders ish thing going on for Gattuso Kuhl back, and yeah, even Palmer is shocked. When even Palmer is shocked, then I think you've achieved. Yeah, we can say that for Ian. He's achieved something special. He's even shocked Palmer with this rather interesting tactical formation. The last stand, he calls it. So yeah, so he'll be hoping that these boys can deliver another formation of my bios. Yeah, that's the root of the that's the root of that's the route they're going to take, Alf. Straight ahead, a bit to the left, a bit to the right, and then right. It's not even funny, is it? Less said about that, the better. I think there might be some halftime instructions for this one here. Oh no, they're not halftime instructions. It's instructions in case Biscan. Yeah. It's moving Alf's players around in case of injury. So Alf, all to play for you. You need to overtake. Do we need to win to overtake Parma? And Ian, all to play for you because you need to win to overtake Cannons. Let's have a look and see who runs away with this one. A good early start for Midlothian, creating a couple of chances there, maybe taking the opponent by surprise with that completely never seen before in the Super League formation that he's thrown out there. Obviously, definitely getting some luck down the wings with the players there. The Dulaj and Gattuso playing running out from the back. Kessman getting a first goal of the game there, really putting Ast Athletic under pressure and potentially taking that sixth place away from Cannons. Very, very, very surprising, considering that I didn't have much hope for this formation, to be honest. Klumpy getting a six and Addo getting a six, so they are not doing particularly well. But it seems as if they are. It seems as if they've managed to contain Alf's side. Tactical genius from from the Edinburgh side here. Very, very interesting development in the first half. completely nullified Asta. Not a single shot on target, not a single shot on off target, not a single shot anywhere. It's been remarkable to see Igor Biscan getting a 5, Brooking getting a 6, completely nullifying any kind of attacking threat that Astor had, and Materazzi already on a yellow card that could potentially be very dangerous for the second half. But look at that, nine shots and 5 on target. Yeah, what is happening here? This will be a very interesting second half for Midlothian. Can they hold on to this? Obviously, I don't want to belittle Alf's predicament of finishing either fifth or fourth, but this is a big one for Midlothian. Of course, the most dangerous lead in the world is 1-0. I thought it was 2-0 for some reason. That was the most dangerous lead in the world, but we'll see how this one ends up. I think we're all pretty excited for the second half. Much better early start for Astor here. At least they had something going on up in the attacking end, but there's only 20 minutes left. It's really gone quick here. Not a lot of chances. Midlothian really digging deep. Ooh, there was a penalty on Materazzi, and now there's a penalty the other way. Lehman gets a second yellow card. You could not make this up. You could not make this up. Who do we have to? Who's been the worst? Are we going to go with one striker? Are we going to go for damage limitation? I can't even think. Who's going to come on? There's 13 minutes left to play. This will make it 2-1. Alf has to get a win. We're going to have to take who's been worst of Rosicky and Emerson. We'll take Rosicky off and go with a narrow midfield. I've done this in the past for many managers, and it sometimes works and sometimes it doesn't. But I think this will balance nicely against the thin line that Ian's got. But obviously he's a man down. Lehman controversially kicking the ball away. Oh, let's see what happens with this penalty. This could be very important for Midlothian. Mpensa puts the ball away. That's 2-1 for Midlothian. Can they hold on? Only 5, 6, 7 minutes to go. Bruggen with the pressure. Emerson trying with a chance there. Last couple of minutes. Emerson trying his best. Brooking is up there, but no, it stays 2-1. Midlothian get the away win. Midlothian get the away win that secures, I think, 6 spots for them. That's got to be 6 spots secured for Midlothian. That this will literally have killed Ian, so there's not even anything to worry about. He will absolutely not have survived this. So if anyone wants to take over the Midlothian side for the rest of the season, then put your name in the hat now, guys, and let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at this. Oh, where did it go? The league. Where did it all go? My goodness. Uh, you couldn't have written this. Wayne Dade, the most dangerous referee in the game as well. Um, yeah, and I've just noticed the advert as well, Ian. Perfect timing, perfect timing. Right, I'm at loss for words. I think I'm gonna have to have a sip of my tea. Wow, just wow, that finish to the league. I mean, heartbreak to some extent for the Cannons, but they can't really have expected it, and they knew their goal difference was they needed so many results to go their way with the goal difference being the way they was. But my goodness, Midlothian and that tactic coming up and getting that result and getting into the playoffs in the dying minutes of that game. I mean, you could not write the script, you could not write it. Many to congratulations to Ian. Obviously, I know how much it means to him. And yeah, commiserations to Cannons. Obviously, they'd had such an up and down season. It looked as if they finally were in with a bit of a shout. I know that Tim himself had written it off, but they were in sixth place. They were, to be fair, in sixth place. And Asta, who hadn't got an away win all season, eventually went all the way and got that result. So perhaps not a huge amount of shock results this evening, but the last game, I mean, poof, with 2 penalties in a couple of minutes, and yeah, I, I don't know. I mean, I was nervous beforehand, but this is absolutely crazy. So this is what the final league table will look like. Everyone gets an away win. That's true. Yeah, everyone does. Valen, takes the regular season title or whatever the hell it's called. Bolton finished second, 3 points, 2 points behind, very very close at the top. Very interesting to see those two guys. They'll go head to head shortly. I can't remember how this works, so we'll just have to like go by ear. I'll try and figure it out. I think they play each other, and then whoever loses gets to play the winner of all of the rest of it, and then they play again or something like that. It's strange anyway. Um, Bolton Phoenix will have. Do they have fixtures? Yeah, they've got the major semi-final against Valley United. I'm not sure how this works, but we'll see. We'll see anyway. Um, Churchtown, Panathinaikos. Panathinaikos finishing fourth. Well done, Parma. Obviously, Asa's defeat in that last game season finished fifth. They are still 8 points ahead of Midlothian, so they're Midlothian definitely going to be the underdogs in this one here. But yeah, Langfield on for 1 minute and conceded a goal. It was a penalty. Alf, give the guy a chance. Yeah, so this is how it ends. This is how the not the season ends, but this is how the actual regular season ends. Let's have a look at the elimination final. So these are the next games that we've got coming up. So you guys, Kieran, Ian, Joe and Alf. I'm gonna send you out some packs, and you can prepare your teams, and we'll get this sorted. I'm gonna have to work out, not in my head. I'm gonna have to work out in general how I'm gonna play this. So I would like to have not ages between the two elimination, obviously, games. So we'll see how quickly we can get those done, and then we're gonna move on to all the other complicated stuff later on. We can maybe see it here actually. These are those fixtures, those are those fixtures, and we've got that one, and then we've got that one, and then we move on to the actual final bits after that. So yeah, all to play for. These are just over one leg. No, they are the elimination has a first and a second leg, and the and the major semi-final has a first and a second leg. So I will play these. We will play these ones first. Then we will play these ones, and on the same night we will play this one. Then we will play this one, and then we will play whatever the hell it is we have to play afterwards. 20th of April, that takes us up to the 20th of April, and then we've got the 27th of April, which I think the preliminary final, I think is the winner of the third to fourth against the loser of the first to second. That's how I think it works. Yes, I think Ryan plays. Someone can correct me. Ryan, you can correct me. I think Ryan and Andreas play each other, and the loser of that game plays the winner of some of the other ones, maybe? Or is that not how it works? Either way, I can't remember. I'll work it out. There's something fishy going on here for sure. All right, okay, correct. Yeah, 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 that is correct. So let's just very, very quickly have a look at this. So we've got the elimination first leg, we've got this leg, and then we've got these ones, and the preliminary final is the loser of the major something, and that's the minor semi-final, which are the two winners of the third and fourth. Yeah, 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 yeah. I've got it. I'm gonna write it down. Um, I'm going to write it down and get back to you guys. But first up, we've definitely got, let's see what we've got. First up, we've definitely got these guys. So prepare yourselves, Kieran, Joe, Ian, and Alf. We will do this, and then we'll have a look at the we'll have a look at what else is coming up. Who's going to stop Midlothian? That'll be interesting with that new the last stand tactic, which might not be the last stand. And now there's a next stand and another stand, perhaps. I mean, at least two more games for Midlothian. Um, who's going to catch Rossini? Rossini's out. Rossini's finished. He's not going to score any more goals. Can anyone catch him? Let's see. He's on 20. Robbie Keane is out. Morientes is out. Sand is the most likely, and Kessman, I guess, on 14. Kessman and Sand are the most likely players to catch him in terms of goals. Um, I don't really know what else to say. What a finish! Obviously, Swindon finishes bottom. We've covered that. Ardsley just above them on 13th. I think Hodgie predicted that himself. We've got Sloths, BTEC, Dragon Destroyers, Hooligans, Hornets, and Cannons there. Midlothian, obviously, with that win, there wasn't much anyone else could have done. Hornets had such a bad goal difference, did they? Yeah, they had -2 already, so they would have really needed something special to both to beat Valen and obviously to score a bunch of goals to overtake Midlothian. Now that was the result. So fair play to Ian and the boys from the Iron Brew Arena. Have you Joe's match stats? Come on, he doesn't care, does he? He finishes fourth. What's he got to worry about? Uh, Joe's match stats, Palmer and Ica's stats. Oh, they are quite impressive to be honest. Ashley Lythe, do we have to see Ashley Lythe in action again? I'm not sure. He's not been overly impressive. Superb morale though. Maybe one for Chris to look out for next year. Vasiu getting man of the match with an assist and a goal, and Balaban with a goal. Jagatos continuing his excellent performance. Something to consider for player of the season, team of the season when you guys get to that. Um, but what a last game! What a last game! Let's have a look at the stats again from that last game that Ian and oh my goodness, let's have a look at this one again. Game of the season in terms of excitement, in terms of that tactic that Ian came up with there, that never seen before in the Super League. 5 defenders across the back. I mean, that is just oof, that is crazy. Um, there's a couple of yellow cards early on. I mean, it was all a little bit physical in the first half. Plenty of chances for Midlothian. Let's have a look. Oh, Alf did come back in the second half. My goodness. But it was pretty much all about Midlothian in the first half, how they were piling on that pressure, creating a bunch of chances, and eventually Kessman getting the ball in the net, and Pensa setting him up for that one. And Pensa not scoring as many goals as people were perhaps expecting this season, but of course he had a very important role to play in this game. Let's see what happens with the penalties. It was really Emerson was fouled in the penalty area going past Headman. Wayne Dade pointed at a spot for penalty. Materazzi took the penalty. I think it's his third penalty in 3 games or something like that. Scored all of them. Very, very impressive. So a pretty clear one there. No red card for the keeper though. Immediately down the other end, Kessman was found in the penalty area going past Lehman. Wayne Dade gave the penalty and reached his pocket and showed the yellow card to Lehman. Lehman kicked the ball away. I mean, come on, Jens, you got to do better than that. After doing so well, and ooh, that means that we're going to see someone very, very special in Alf's first playoff game on the bench. Yeah, we can look forward to that. We can definitely look forward to that. I didn't think that was going to come up, but it will. So we're looking forward to that. That's a proper mystery player for you, Alf. Someone that no one knows anything about. As discussed, he will have to start on the bench, but yeah, that'll be interesting. 10th goal of the season for Impensa, who scored the penalty, who ultimately takes Midlothian into the playoffs. Well done, Ian. Tons of chances at the end for Ast Athletic, even though they were down to 10 men. Nicolay struck the ball. Emerson with a rebound. Gattuso cleared the ball head off by Babel. Small chance there, but then again, lots of Brookings, lots of Biscans and a bunch of stuff. But Midlothian held on. Midlothian held on. That's Nicolay pushed yellow card. Yeah, I mean Wayne Dade. You can't have everything with Wayne Dade. That's just how it goes. Um, yeah, I don't really know what else to say other than that was hugely exciting. And I hope Ian's still alive wherever he is. He seems to have missed the chat, obviously, possibly deliberately. I think nerves maybe have gotten the better of him. But yeah, congratulations to Ian. Well done for getting his side into the playoffs there. And well done to everyone. And a big thank you to everyone. I mean, last but not least, I know we still have some games to play, guys. But thank you so much for playing along, for being part of this funny little Super League thing that I kind of took over. Oh, hi Boise, and thanks to Boise for letting me take over. I'm not sure you had much say in the matter, apart from giving me the Twitter account. But yeah, thanks everyone for the opportunity to play along and to have fun with you guys. I really enjoy it, and I'm really looking forward to the finals. Boise, if you have any suggestions on how to run these fucking things without making it a nightmare and waiting days in between each game, etc., then hit me up, man. Everyone else, let's finish on that. Hope everything goes well, Alf, and obviously best of luck to Andreas as well with his little boy, who I think is doing quite well, but obviously in hospital. So yeah, thoughts goes out to everyone who's got crap to worry about. Try not to catch the corona before the end of the season at least. And yeah, and thanks to Rob for the first kind of whatever 30, 40 minutes. Shame he missed his own game, but it didn't go particularly well. So there we go. That's it, guys. You'll hear from me soon. Good night.